Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I am, of course, your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a fantastic night. In Edmonton, it is still overcast, bloody cold, and smoky outside. So, again, wherever you guys are, keep yourselves safe. Warm if it's cold, cold if it's warm, and look after yourselves and one another. We are back for part two of our look into Joe Jackson, new music discovery. Part two, yes. And Mr. Bill Schuster is back with me. We are going to talk about two more of Joe Jackson's albums. And as the previous episode, Bill's going to take over in terms of giving us some insight into Joe Jackson. So how you doing, Bill? First of all.
I am hyped. I'm excited. I'm ready. Ready?
Good. Good. That's great. That's great. He's ready, guys. He's psyched. He's hyped up. So we are going to be covering albums from 84 and 86, Body and Soul and Big World. I should mention, because I failed to mention in the previous episodes, when Joe Jackson started recording, he worked with David Kirschenbaum on these albums up until, I believe, Big World. So as Bill takes a sip of tea, because he's a little not under the weather, but sinuses are going nuts for him right now. So please excuse him. I will hand it over to Bill. Take it away, Bill.
All right. We will not let sinus issues stop us.
Nope.
Because after all, Joe's smoking a cigarette on this album cover. And even though I quit smoking years ago, well, I'm sure Joe can relate to sinus problems as a smoker. So
There you go. There you go. Perfect.
that was a bit of a stretch, but yeah.
Well, you know what? You got to go with what you got, right? Don't worry
That's
about
right.
it. It's fine. It's fine.
All right. Last episode we covered the big two most obvious ones, Look Sharp and Night and Day. And we're not traveling too far, obviously. This we're going to stretch out a bit more in the next episode, but this came out 2 years after Night and Day, with only Mike's Murder, the soundtrack in between. But this is the first official follow up to Night and Day, and
Mhm.
actually, as it says on the hype sticker, if you can read it, contains the single "You Can't Get What You Want Till You Know What You Want," which was his last top 20 hit here in the States.
Bloody hell.
And it was a good one. I didn't much appreciate it at the time, but it was Joe Jackson, so I
Yeah.
still enjoyed it.
Hmm.
It took me a while to fully come around to this album. Now it's one of my favorites.
Hmm.
Uh, I know off camera, Armando and I talked a bit about this earlier about the sound quality for years before I got an actual vinyl copy of my own. Uh, the sound was quiet because the way it was recorded, it was an early digital recording, and it's really a high fidelity release.
Hmm.
And if you want to hear some of the details, you need to turn the volume up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you put it on a playlist with a lot of other Joe Jackson songs, you might get irritated when these come on because you're listening
Yeah.
carefully. You can't hear it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
get it
It's
and turn
true.
it up. Well worth it. This is Joe added some new band members on this. Vinny Zummo, in particular, on guitar, stayed with him for a bit
Hmm.
and was pretty popular among Joe's fan base during these years.
Hmm.
And this was, I believe, the first. Nope, nope, it's not. Graham Maybe still on here. Never mind. Ever present, almost Graham Maybe on bass, who's pretty much Joe's right hand. Uh, Graham is on probably the majority of Joe's albums in some
Hmm.
capacity,
Hmm.
and he's a pretty awesome bass player in general.
Yeah. Yes.
Uh, this is well, Actually, I want to know what you think it is, Armando. I about forgot about our format here.
Okay.
My
The form
sinuses have got me. My
No,
brain's
it's fine. It's fine. And the format is, ladies and gentlemen, I'm to give my 10 cents of the of the album, and Bill will give his 20 cents of the album, and and sort of compare notes on the fly.
sounds like
Um,
I'm giving half cents so far.
no, you're
Whew.
doing fine. You're doing fine. And I appreciate you doing this, being under slightly under the weather with your sinuses and stuff. Um, well, what I I as I was telling you before we started taping, I think this album is fantastic. Um, to me, he's grown by leaps and bounds um, from night and day. Again, these albums were produced by David Kirschenbaum, and actually on background vocals, Ellen Foley, who performed with Meatloaf on Paradise by the Dashboard Light. And guys, a little side note: if you ever see the video for Paradise by the Dashboard Light and you think it's Carla DeVito singing, it's not. It's Ellen Foley. Back to the show. Now, um, I think this album is. I mean, it's known. It's labeled as pop, Latin, jazz, and sophistopop. Whatever sophistopop is, this son of a bitch is it. I mean, it's got Latin influence, jazz influence. It's there are I believe 9 tracks on it, if my notes are correct. Hold on a second.
Yep.
Okay, 9 tracks. Okay, I'm not going crazy, guys. Um, I'll try and go track by track here. The verdict for me, fantastic horn arrangement on the verdict. It's a very grand sort of track in terms of its arrangements. The next one, Cha Cha Loco. I can't even get even that name makes me laugh my ass off. I'm sorry, guys. Um, very grand arrangements. What I like about what he does on this album and what he wanted to do was, and we'll give you a bit of background. I'll give you a bit of background on this album. He was getting very tired of the way modern pop or rock albums were sounding, and the idea was to record the band live, like as a full piece. Take a well-rehearsed band into a studio and record them live off the floor. This was recorded at the Masonic Hall, and it is fantastic. I mean, the arrangements and all these tracks are very epic and very grand, sort of, um, uh, very expansive. It's like each track to me is like an empty canvas, and he just painted on it whatever the hell he wanted to do, and he didn't care if it sold, if it was melodic, or if it was gonna uh, tie in cohesively, thematic wise. He just did whatever the hell he wanted to do, and man, did he ever! And getting back to the songs, track 3 is yes, guys, I have my notes. Not here, not now. My notes, I have great melody, nice piano on it, fantastic piano. The piano on this album for me is very prominent. It's the main instrument. It's almost like you can almost tie it in between the bass and the drums as the rhythm tracks. I mean, because the bass and drums usually are the instruments that underpin everything and keep everything moving. The piano for me is almost like that on this album. You know what I mean? Amazing, very grand, very epic chords that are played, very dramatic chords that are played on the piano. Fan effing tastic. I'm sorry, just bloody hell. The next track, you can't get what you want till you know what you want. Ain't that the bloody truth? That was the lead off single from the album. And that's the one I remember as a 14-year-old getting into this. Amazing. Just great. Fantastic bass. It's almost like he's like slapping the bass on this, like, thumb slapping the bass. the way he's playing. Great horn arrangement on it. Back to my notes. Go For It is the next track. I love the idea of the track behind it, where he's just saying to anyone, like in the music, in the lyrics, he's saying, whatever you have going on in your life, whatever you want to accomplish or try to accomplish, just do it. You may not get to, the height of success, but at least you've tried something, right? Which is, how can you go wrong with a message like that? Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that one. There's an instrumental called, and I'm going to get this wrong, called Luisa Ida. And it's great. It's an instrumental. It's not listed as an instrumental on the notes that I had. Has a very grand introduction, great saxophone solo on that, beautiful piano, epic in presentation, just big and grand and just overblown, beautiful, amazing. Sorry. Track, oh my God. Track 7, it was the second single from the album, Happy Ending, featuring Elaine Caswell as a duet. Again, another piano-driven track, very melodic, great drums on it. Be My Number 2, track 8. Now, guys, let me put it to you this way. Never, ever, ever say to whoever you want to be your significant other, be my number 2. Never. It doesn't work out. And you have to go to sleep sometime. And when you do, there'll be a surprise waiting for you when you wake up. I'm telling you the truth. Great song. The sentiment behind it, I mean, he's basically saying to his girlfriend or his boyfriend or whatever that, you know what? Music is my first love. I'm tired. I'm spent. I can't give you everything that you need from me in terms of you being my number 1. So can you at least be happy to be my number 2? Bullshit. in terms of the sentiment behind the track. But good track nonetheless. I can see why it didn't do as well as a single in the US. And the last track, Heart of Ice. Again, 6-minute plus track. The vocals don't come in till around the 5-minute, 4-second mark on this piece. Again, in my notes, nice relaxed feel on the track. Beautiful flute. Sorry, where are my notes? Beautiful flute line, melodic sax on it. Great, just a beautiful melodic piece of work. What I like about what he does is he experiments. Like, he doesn't feel the need to have a vocal come in within the first minute and a half or the first 30 seconds. He can go for like a 2-minute or 3-minute, 4-minute span and just let the music speak for itself. And then let the vocals come in and just, say what he's going to say vocally. But for him, the music, if the music to him is important enough to let it, to have it come first, he'll do that. I mean, and that's beautiful. And yeah, those are my notes. It's a fantastic album. Guys, I just pre-ordered I ordered a copy of Body and Soul and Night and Day and Surprise Bob, and it'll be here Tuesday. So yeah, those are my notes on Body and Soul. Fantastic album. Just great and unreal. So
all right, folks, that was Armando reporting from the early 80s where he pre-ordered Night and Day and Body and Soul.
yeah, true enough. Moving on.
Right. That was a very nice review. Yeah, that's I can't really think of anything that I could disagree with that said there. I before I forget, I made a funny little connection when you were talking about "Be My Number Two." You know, earlier you had spoken about Ellen Foley and Meatloaf because, of course, she was on "Bat Out of Hell," and
Yeah.
with "Be My Number Two," you were talking about the lyrical conceit of it here. It reminded me of another song from "Bat Out of Hell." I want you. I need you.
You
Ain't
want
no way I'm
to,
ever
yeah.
gonna love you. Don't be sad. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Same kind of thing. You probably don't want to have that as your wedding song or any of that kind of
Or
thing.
even played anywhere near your wedding, even in the town next to your town. You don't even want to have it play because, yeah, no, that's not good. Yeah, I want you, I need you, but there ain't no way I'm ever gonna love you. Like, okay, sorry, go on. Yeah, it's true. Amazing.
Maybe Joe was listening to "Bat Out of Hell" and he was inspired to write "Be My Number Two" and pick up Ellen Foley. Probably not, but it's a cool story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, no, no, no.
I
Good
totally
enough.
made
Good
it
enough.
up.
Good enough. Good enough. So, what are your thoughts on Body and Soul?
This one, it has aged very well. I didn't like it as much as Night and Day when it first came out. It took me a bit to come around to it, but I was a lot younger then, and as I aged, I definitely appreciated the jazzier elements
Yeah.
and the big grandiose arrangements. Yeah, the verdict, which the title, if I recall correctly, was inspired by Paul Newman legal drama movie that was out around that time.
Or Sally Field, I think.
Yes, I
Mhm.
mean that big brass. I better not do it. We'll get a strike or something here if I.
No problem. No
but
problem. I got you.
but yeah, that's a pretty bold start. It just gets your attention right off the bat, and
Yeah.
it lets you know this is not stepping out. We're not in that territory exactly.
Yeah.
Cha Cha Loco, yeah, that's fun. As soon as you said the title, I just
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a dancey kind of song. The lyrics are kind of fun and silly. Uh, not here, not now. That is I think quite a powerful song, quite a powerful lyric.
Mhm.
Smiling faces all around us. Yeah, you don't want to cause a scene. Not here, not now. Yeah, that. How many people have been in that situation where they're with their partner and they're putting on a brave face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry not to cut you off. I just wanted to say that Joe Jackson in this song especially wears his heart on his sleeve, right? It's like, oh shit. You're listening to a breakup happening kind of a thing, right? So it's like, oh
Yeah.
my God. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Let's see. Let's skip ahead to Heart of Ice. I
Hmm.
just, yeah, I appreciated what you brought up about that, but the long instrumental intro. That's one of the things I think I didn't appreciate when I was much younger when this first came out. Same with I've always said Lois Ada, but I have no idea. Both of us could be absolutely wrong. I really don't know. But yeah, track one on side two, the instrumental, those that and Heart of Ice both initially kind of threw me off, especially because I'm a fan of lyrics and singing and vocalists, and I like to sing along. So I didn't quite have as much patience for instrumental music at that point in time.
Hmm.
Uh, but Heart of Ice, though, even though it's primarily instrumental, it does have that very nice ending where the vocals do come in. I Yeah, I can't find the lyric right offhand here, but it's something along the lines of "Take this heart of ice, walk into the sun," which is a very simple but powerful image. It just, I
Yeah.
mean, to me, that just says, I want to be loved. I want to be I want to have that healing power of love. I don't want to be this cold
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. You can
So
change me. Yeah.
yes, and that's a powerful message. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
And a fine way to end the album. Really, uh,
Yeah.
I skipped over a couple of the others, but go for it. Go for it. It's just goofy fun. I love some of the lyrics on that too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Think of Babe Ruth. You think of hot dogs and beer. If he can hit a home run, so can you. Am I making myself quite clear? And
Go for it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I got you. Yeah.
yeah, this album is pretty amazing. It's I rank it fairly high, much higher than I used to, especially since I got this copy finally.
Hmm.
Just lucked out and found a vinyl at the time. Let's see, it still has this original sticker on it here. Our price $2.99 back in '84, wherever this was. Yeah,
My God. That's the original price.
that's what it's got on. Apparently, it was a discount at that point, but
Holy shit.
because
Okay.
I remember a couple years before this, Tom Petty was already fighting the record companies about the difference between what $8.99 and $9.99. So I can't imagine $2.99 was the full purchase price as
Yeah.
when it was brand new. Yeah,
Yeah. They want, this was back in 81, and MCA wanted to raise the price to 9.99 from 8.99, and he flatly refused. He says, no. I mean, this is my album. Do it to another artist. Don't do it to me. You're not doing it to my album. Because to some people, 9.99 for an album at that point, like in 81, 82, was just sacrilege, right? It was like, I'm not paying that much money. Now it's like, I'll pay that, and it's like, so
yeah, sounds like a great price.
yeah, hello, yeah, exactly. So I get you. I understand that. Yeah, no, I mean, I mean, I thanked Bill before we started taping, um, just just for the simple fact of introducing me to this music. It is phenomenal. Like I cannot get over how good it is. So again, I want to thank you for this. I mean, you've opened my eyes to another artist and another possibility for me in terms of listening to music. So it's great. It's great. So, but we have to move on, ladies and gentlemen. Our next um, album that we are going to talk about caused a bit of controversy. Yes, Big World. My God, he's got the props. It caused a bit of controversy on its release. This was an album done at the Roundabout Theater, recorded live on from the 22nd to the 25th of January 1986. Ooh, I'm like, oh, okay. Lyrics and liner notes. Oh my goodness.
Ah, good old vinyl.
Bloody
I
hell.
didn't mean to interrupt your flow.
No, it's fine.
I
I
felt like a
told you
musician
before,
or
if we ever do meet, if I ever fall out of a plane and land on your front lawn, I'm gonna raid your record collection and walk out with a bag full of music. Um,
there's plenty here.
no, I can imagine. I can imagine. As I was saying, this album recorded January 22nd to the 25th in 1986. Um, this album caused a bit of controversy in that it was he wanted to record a live album, but without the audience feedback, without people clapping and getting into it. He wanted that live feel. Because he was saying he was feeling at that point that studios were they had kind of a dead sound to them in terms of the recordings. And it was done in front of a small group of invited people. And they were told that these were all going to be new songs, 15 in total. The album clocks in at 60 minutes and some, I think 60 minutes and 40 some odd seconds. When it was released on vinyl, it was released as a triple album. Sorry. Yeah, triple, double album, three-sided. Sorry, my fault. So one side didn't play. There was no music on it. And Bell's about to show.
You can see it.
Yeah, there you go.
No music on this side. Don't play it. Don't put your needle on this.
There you go. You're gonna screw your needle up. So again, and there I was reading up on this album, guys, before I started, while I was listening to it. There were myths that he got upset. Apparently, it was a myth that he got upset at the audience because the rumor was that the band would kick into a song, and the audience would start clapping and getting into it, and he would stop the band and say, and he would tell the audience, "I told you, no clapping, no reaction, just don't do that." Apparently, he didn't do that. He said he never did that. The audience didn't know what to do. They did clap only after the songs were done, when they were sure that the songs were finished. So and it's to be said too, the album was not mixed to like by way of multi-track, and so there's no overdubbing on this album. What you hear is what you get coming through the mics onto the console. So fantastic sounding album, you know. There's a lot of, what I noticed is the drum tracks on this sound amazing. Like the instrumentation, you can tell that there's separation between each instrument. Do you know what I mean? Like very clear, very concise, very rich sound. But that's again, my 5 cents. I'll go through the track listing. There are 15 tracks on this album. Starts off with Wild West. Again, nice guitar passage on the intro. Fantastic bass on this album all the way through. Also, the guitar isn't really prominent in terms of, it's not a guitar laden album at all. I find the next track is the single from the album, Right and Wrong, and this was the video that was released from the album. My notes, I have here, good strong bass from it on it, nice jazz like piano chords. Next track, It's a Big World. To me, it sounds like has Arabic influenced arrangements on it, very much so, and the vocal line kind of mimics the instrumentation, the melody on the instrumentation. They kind of go hand in hand, like they it's like they're twinned together kind of thing. So it's my very amateurish opinion on this album. I think it's great.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Definitely. Next track, Precious Time. A fast rhythm guitar on this track, good solid bass line, fast-paced track all the way through the drums. The drums keep the track moving really just from start to finish, kind of thing. Very fast-paced, very frenetic, kind of thing. Track 5, Tonight and Forever. The guitars have kind of like a ska reggae rhythm to them, like on the second beat, kind of thing. Like they come in on the second beat, on the back beat, kind of thing. Great song. Shanghai Sky is next, track 6. Nice sweeping piano runs on this track, on the intro. Again, understated guitar. Like, I mean, again, this album is not a guitar laden track album at all. Sorry, but it's fantastic. There's an extended instrumental passage that comes in, and it's on the intro, I should say too. And it's a very the piano chords are very dramatic for me. right? Just I mean, very, very grand, right? I mean, like you hear like piano stabs, like kind of like just coming in, like he's like bashing on the. It's almost like he's bashing on the keyboard, kind of thing. It's really good. It's really good. Sorry, you've got sinuses. I've got dry eye here going on, so it's like very difficult. $50 Love Affair. Now, guys, don't go for a $50 Love Affair. Go for at least $75. Okay, don't sell yourself short.
Hey, back in the 80s, $50 would take you further though.
I know, I know, but I digress. Okay, it's a family show here, but still, $50 love affair. I just put my notes. Nice, relaxed feel on this. Just nice use of accordion on this too. A song like this has got a very sort of easy, relaxed feel, like a jazz kind of a feel to it, right? I hear that, but anyways, what do I know, right? We Can't Live Together comes next. Nice bass tone, jazz-like feel, almost like a torch song too, like like a torch song feel to it. And the bass, has when I hear the bass on the song, I think of Jaco Pastorius. When like that sort of like he's almost like running his fingers up and down the fretboard on the bass. It's I call it it's a very lyrical, fluid bass line, right, on this track. 40 Years comes next. Track 9. We're like almost there, guys. It's 15 tracks. 40 Years. Great melodic piano intro, very piano driven track, very heartfelt vocal on it. Nice piano. On the outro, there's a piano counterpart, like part counterpart that I hear on the fade out. Great song, just fantastic. And I'm gonna sort of bring my notes down here for a bit. Sorry. I got 5 more tracks to go here, guys. So it's forgive me. Yeah, I just noticed that when I on the end of the track I heard the melody of the main melody, and I heard like a counterpart melody on the piano on the fade out. I thought it was great. I thought it was great. Survival's next. There's a very funky guitar riff intro on it, fast-paced drum pattern all the way through. And the bass is very much in the pocket for me, like just very almost like syncopated, just like just very on the ball, just like on the beat kind of thing. Great song. Soul Kiss comes next. Again, good funky bass and piano. I wrote attitude. The song's got attitude, right? Just all over the place. Funky drum passage. Almost again, the piano has a very jazz kind of feel to it, to me. The Jet Set. I've only got 2 notes on this track. Very kind of like surf guitar feel on it. That's and it has a nice piano section to it. But I mean, if there was a weak track on the album, I would say that would be it. But where am I? Track 12. Yeah, hold on, guys. Forgive me. I gotta scroll down here. Okay, track 13, Tango Atlantico. I mean, nice dramatic piano intro on it. Tango rhythm, I would say. Nice piano solo that comes in. To me, it's very grandiose, very epic kind of feel to it. It's good. It's good. A nice Spanish guitar acoustic. Start again. Nice acoustic Spanish guitar on it. on the overdub, and a great guitar solo. Next, track 14 is Hometown. Um, all I have on this track is it has a nice guitar tone to it and a nice melody on the guitar. Just a nice, simple melody, very pleasant to the ears. Um, and the very last track, I'm done, guys, almost. The very last track. This was the only track that was recorded on January 22nd. The rest of the tracks were recorded from the 23rd to the 25th of January 1986. Man in the Street. This is to me the heaviest track on the album. Great heavy. My notes say great heavy guitar. A really heavy chords that come in on the guitar. Again, I put heavy sounding track on the album, and there throughout the track, he's got the drummer is playing cymbal crashes along with drum snares, like hitting the snare drum at the same time. So, and it's sort of a now it's very can I put this? It makes it very pronounced. It makes it the song very pronounced. Sort of gives it a dramatic feel to it, and it sort of underpins the whole track for me. Very good, very heavy sounding, and it fades out on that. Fantastic track. If there was any track on this album that I would skip, the Jet Set, really. But that would be about it. It's a great album. It is a great album. So those are my notes. Forgive me if I've been very long, Bill, and I'll let you take over.
It's a long album.
It is.
Three
It
sides,
is.
not live, and yet it is live.
Yes, it is. Very much so.
Yes, that was a very nice review. I noticed one thing that maybe this is something that has to do with the nature of the show we're doing here, the introducing you to the new music, well, the new old music, new to you music.
Yeah, yeah.
That you are primarily concentrating on the musical stuff when going through and hearing it, and haven't really had time to digest some of the lyrics as much. I think there's a lot of these songs on here. I've been listening to this stuff for almost 4 decades.
Yeah.
So a lot of the lyrics really have stuck with me and drilled into my head over the years for some of these things. So it's interesting to hear almost a pure musical review of some of these songs, because sometimes I kind of take the music for granted, even though I love Joe as a musician and enjoy his instrumental albums and songs. So, and I do want to point out, since you kept singling out the bass at various points, this actually does appear to be the first album without Graham Maybe on bass. It's Rick Ford playing the bass on this album.
That's right, Rick Ford. Yeah.
As much as I love Graham, I don't want to give him erroneous credit for all the praise you're dishing out for the bass player on here, Rick Ford.
No, it's good. You know what? When someone needs to be called out and praised, or put in their place, and go for it. I mean, it's the way it is, right? No.
Let's see. I'm not going to do a whole track by track, just some highlights here. This set, for the longest time, I think this might have been my favorite Joe Jackson album.
Really?
Maybe I was 18 when this came out. Maybe that has something to do with it. And a lot of these songs hit me just right then, and some of them really still hit me just right now. But I don't know if I'd consider it my favorite anymore. I don't even know what my favorite is anymore. There's so much variety across the catalog, but it still means a lot to me. And there are some of my favorite songs on here. But even so, 15 songs, there's going to be, not everyone's going to be a masterpiece. I think there's a couple like Precious Time and Tonight and Forever. I think, especially Tonight and Forever, that could have been tossed on to one of the first two albums and probably would have fit right in. And so
Mhm.
to me, that's compared to some of the stuff around it, that's kind of a throwaway. I enjoy it while it's playing, but when I think of this album, I don't think of Tonight and Forever. So as much, yeah, much as I love Joe, I gotta say, yeah, he has filler for me at sometimes.
Yeah,
But
yeah, of course.
right and wrong, that is well, it was very specifically written at the time Ronald Reagan was president here in the States and was a very large figure on the world stage. And I won't go too deep into it here. We don't want to get into a yeah, full on
Political,
political
yeah,
show, but
it's fine.
but I would say that the lyrics of this song probably apply not just to Ronald Reagan, but to every U.S. president since. And I'll leave it at that. And it's a fine critique.
Hmm.
Well, just a quick stop everything. I think I hear the president, the Pied Piper of the TV screen, is going to make it simple. There you go. We don't want to use
Right
words
then
like
and there, that
ideology. Yeah.
right then and there, that line, no, you know where it's going after that line. Like it's already set out for you, right? It's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, without going into too much detail, as a not a fan of Ronald Reagan as an 18-year-old, this song hit me in the sweet spot. When I heard it come on the radio, I was, yeah, that's my guy right there. So,
Okay.
yeah, the lyrics were very important. I thought the music was really cool too, but yeah, without the lyrics, it probably would not have hit me in quite the same way.
Hmm.
It's a big world is fun. I do like that very. I don't know. I want to call it world music. Is that a little too simple since the title is actually it's a big world?
No, no,
But
no. I was thinking that too. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah.
it has some fun lyrics. There's an eyeball staring at me. I know I've met my match. Do I eat or am I eating? It's a new adventure. Yeah, going around the world trying to experience all these odd things. I think the music matches lyrics well. Um, Shanghai Sky, that is one of my favorites. That's one of my favorite melodies. The lyrics are simple. There's no verse chorus. It's just like a almost like a sung poem. I don't know. I can't think of what the actual form is called. But yeah, there's no repetitive chorus to it at all.
Mhm.
But the lyrics are simple and powerful, and they match the gorgeous music. It's I don't want to recite the whole thing for you, even though it's
No,
not
it's
much,
fine.
but
It's fine.
um, okay. Well, I will recite the whole thing.
Go for it. Go for it.
Hey,
My
uh,
time is your time. Go on.
and it is a short lyric. Strange how the world got so small. I turned around and there was nowhere left to go. So sad, the dream always dies. Each new arrival closes places in my mind, but I can dream until I go of smells that I don't recognize. And by the river in Shanghai, the color of the sky is something I've never seen after the summer rain. Children smile, curious and kind, and the world is big again. And that's it. That's just, I think that's beautiful. It's very poetic
That's
and it's
powerful. Yeah. Yeah.
so, yeah, musically and lyrically, I think it's probably my favorite song on the album. I just think it's gorgeous. This, yeah.
Shanghai Sky. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the $50 love affair, my take on that is that's Joe has a knack throughout his career of poking at our gender roles and ideas of masculinity and femininity and
Hmm.
he's pretty well taking the piss out of this stereotypical macho male looking to go prove that he's a man basically.
Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah. Like,
Yes.
yeah. If you can burp and pass gas, you're good to go.
Exactly. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to go pay someone to have sex with me, and that means I'm a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a few of those songs.
Oh yeah,
More than a few,
definitely,
really.
definitely.
40 years at that point. Well, the subtitle here is on the 40th anniversary of the end of World War II. And the idea of the song is it's talking about former allies of World War II and how they're not really acting like allies so much anymore at that time. And here we are getting closer to 80 years later at this point. And unfortunately, it's still a bit true, but such as human nature, that's the simple chorus. The lyric changes slightly each time, but the idea, like once allies danced and sang, that it was 40 years ago. Not that way now. So yeah,
Yeah,
just kind of a wistful look back at what was a brief moment
yeah.
before human nature took over. Apparently,
Hmm.
that's kind of a pessimistic view of it. Human nature took over. Wow, that's terrible. That's kind of a depressing thought.
In
Uh,
some cases, it's bang on. I mean, don't worry about it. You're doing fine. I think it's great.
um, here, I don't know if it was officially a single, but the Jet Set, along with Right and Wrong and Hometown, all three got a lot of play on. I was living in Aurora, Colorado at this time, and they all got a lot of play on the local radio stations.
Yeah, right or wrong, there was a video for it. Um, and that got played a hell of a lot, like here in Canada. So yeah,
Do you recall any of the others, or just Right and Wrong?
just, just right or wrong,
Okay,
actually.
so it
Um,
may have just been. This was a really cool radio station that we had in Colorado at the time.
yeah.
KAZY. I don't even know if they're still in business. And yeah, I've been
Mm-hmm.
out of Colorado for 4 decades, so
Yeah.
but I have a different take on Jet Set. I like it quite a bit more than you, but I mean, musically, I think it's simple fun, but the lyric, it's again Joe mocking a certain
It's a
stereotype,
it's a
the ugly
commentary.
American tourist. Yeah,
It's a commentary on society.
and
Right.
this essentially, yeah, he's really going after his main target in particular seems to be overly privileged American tourists
Very much so.
who think they can go anywhere in the world and just immediately have everyone bow to them and let them get their way. I mean, he doesn't put it in quite those words. His words are a little more entertaining, but that's the gist of it. So,
Yeah, yeah. He's very
yeah.
colorful with his euphemisms,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Sorry, what exactly do you mean? Can you say it in English?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Hometown, the other song that got played on the radio a lot, that one, as I've aged, has come to mean a lot more to me too. Even though I live just outside of my hometown, I'm not trying to get back to my hometown. And frankly, in a lot of ways, my hometown's kind of crap. There's still this feeling of it's not so much about trying to get back to a place, but more a time to me when I hear this song,
Yeah.
a time in life, a I don't know, younger, full of dreams that may have come true that perhaps passed by now. You know, the world is big and wide open, and yeah, it's a longing to go back to what used to be,
Want
basically.
to it's a longing to want to recapture innocence
Mm-hmm.
and possibilities of what is out there.
Yeah,
Hmm. I get it, believe me.
man in the street. Yeah, I like your point about the drums, the cymbals there. That as soon as you said that, I started hearing the. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I've always liked Man in the Street. I mean, it's a simple, how do you know the man in the street don't care? And why don't you care when the man in the street don't know? There's a lot said in that simple line there.
Oh, of course.
I think it's a nice closer to the album.
Definitely.
It kind of ends the album on a question, really.
Yeah, yeah, it leaves it ambiguous kind of thing. Does anyone really know the answer kind of a thing? You know what I mean? And yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I'm kind of getting misty eye thinking about that myself right now because it's like, yeah, there are a lot of questions that are left unanswered at the end of that track, right? So,
Sonically, I think I really I like the way the album was recorded. I think it sounds great. I would have never known if I wasn't aware of the story of how it was recorded.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's not sloppy at all. This was a tight band.
yeah. No, you could hear that he rehearsed the crap out of that band. Like, he wanted them to be ready to the point where if he, okay, we're not going to do this now. We're not going to do Man in the Street now. We're going to do uh Tango Atlantico. You know what I mean? Like, and they had to be ready at a moment's notice. Boom, you had to be on the ball. And if you weren't, something tells me he wouldn't have thought twice about getting rid of you, getting somebody else. And so
Give him the James Brown treatment.
or the Steely Dan treatment. Yeah, it's like you don't want to do that. You're fired. Next, come on in. It's true.
And Joe is a Steely Dan fan too.
Yeah, yeah.
He's actually covered Steely Dan before on a live album.
I'm gonna look that one up too.
That one is well, he's had a few live albums, but that would be this one. Oh, that's the sorry. I have two copies here. One of them's a promo. Yeah, this is the full one. It's live in New York City. It's just Joe with Graham Maybe and Gary Burke trio, and uh, in addition to some of his own songs throughout the catalog, he covered "King of the World" from Countdown to Ecstasy, and he also covered Eleanor Rigby, "The In Crowd," "Mood Indigo" from Duke Ellington, "For Your Love" from the Yardbirds, so "Summer in the City" from the Lovin' Spoonful. So an
Cool.
unusual amount of covers, but they fit in well with his own material. It's a fun set. So if you
Yeah,
get to that point,
yeah. There was another album, another live album that you showed before on the previous video.
oh, that would be
Live something to 86 or something. Like
live 1980 to 86.
that's the album. Yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, check this album out. Get it. You can get it on Amazon, Discogs, anywhere that you can, throw, a can at or whatever. And literally, I was going to say something, but, can't say that. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties on Bill's end, not my end, as he had said. So we are going to continue with what we were talking about. And Bill, what were you saying about the live 80 to 86?
I just wanted to point out one of the interesting things about this album. It was a 2-record set, and each of the 4 sides was from a different tour. We had the Beat Crazy tour in 80 on side 1, the Night and Day tour 82, 83 on side 2, Body and Soul tour 84, and then the Big World tour on 86. So, well, 3 out of those 4 sides are the 4 albums, 3 of the 4 albums we've discussed already.
Cool.
So, and there's bits and pieces. And I mentioned in the previous episode, I think about 3 different versions of "Is She Really Going Out with Him?" One from each of 3 different tours, and every one quite different than the others.
Mhm.
But also there is they close the album with a version of "Stepping Out," which is likely to disappoint and piss off people who are looking for the album version. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I
good to
think
know.
it's cool now, but the first time I heard this, I was like, "What the hell?"
Well, yeah,
But that's
sometimes that's
Joe.
how it is.
That's who he is. That's why I think it's appropriate that this was his first official live release, because he does change so much in his live shows. various tours and shakes it up a lot.
Yeah.
So it's cool that he has examples of each of these different tours. I
Yeah.
wish he had a lot more official live documents from some of the cooler tours, but like
Yeah.
the the Duke there. I had it's a kind of a signed mini poster thing that came with the pre-ordered CD when that came out in 2012. But that particular tour, he brought out, I mean, some of the best modern jazz musicians. Uh, Regina, why do I always forget Regina's last name? She plays violin. Uh, and Christian McBride was, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It
Um,
was. I'd love to see something to that, but unfortunately,
yeah.
there was no official live album for that tour.
Okay. Let me ask you a question because this is what I was thinking. Do you find that every album that he did, that he did, showed or showcased a different side of him?
To a degree, yes. There, as you get later into his career, there are, well, all right, there are a couple of albums here in particular, uh, Night and Day 2 and its follow up, Joe Jackson Band Volume 4. Uh, I mean, Night and Day 2 obviously is a sequel to Night and Day, is his, most commercially successful album. But even though it's a sequel and it has the same idea, it's like a love letter to New York City. It sounds quite a bit different, takes a very different, both musically and lyrically. It's a whole different angle. So, and same with this. This is the original Joe Jackson band that was on the first three albums reunited for the first time since Beat Crazy, and this was 2003. So, uh, but even though it's the original band, it's quite a bit different. It's clear that they've all aged and matured, and I think they're better musicians. And Joe's a much better lyricist, and it goes deeper. I'm a big fan of this. I think it's better than any of his first three albums, but I'm in the minority on that, I do believe. So, yeah, even my point is, even when he's doing
Yeah.
something that might seem like a cheap attempt to pander to old fans, he's doing something new. He's doing
Okay.
something
Yeah.
that's not just a carbon copy of, yeah, what it
Mhm.
might seem like with these. These might seem like cheap sellout albums, but they're not. They're both excellent
Yeah.
albums, I think.
Well, I mean, I just thank you for your response. I just feel that every album was to me with the stuff I've heard so far, there's no connection to the previous or the next album. It's like every album it's its own is its own entity, like its own thing, right?
Well, yeah,
Um I just wondered if you felt that way, if you felt the same, if you or you could sort of hear that he was trying to do different things on every album, like show different sides of himself.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean,
Really, it pisses
that's
off a lot of old fans too.
what was that? Sorry, what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Uh,
you say.
I said it really pisses off a lot of old fans too. Some of the people that want him to keep doing the same thing he was doing early in his career, they get irritated. It seems like when he changes and grows and tries new things, there's
Yeah.
yeah, like many people who get on board early with an artist, a lot of them don't want that artist to progress. They want it more of the same. But Joe Jackson is absolutely not ACDC. Joe Jackson is
Mhm.
restless to this day. He likes to shake things up, and that's why I love his stuff so much. That's why I appreciate him as an artist.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the artists that are big influences on him, Duke Ellington, the Beatles, Steely Dan, just three quick examples.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all restless artists that, yeah, kept growing and changing. And well, all right, we talked about Steely Dan recently. Maybe Becker and Fagan didn't grow and change eventually, but up to a certain point, they definitely did.
Yeah. I think with Becker and Fagan, I think that, how can I put this? Up until Asia, I think that they were growing and changing. I think Asia is where they sort of hit their zenith and then they plateaued. You know what I mean? And just,
And we want to do this some more.
yeah, it's like, we like this. Let's do this again. Or let's just keep doing it. I think with Joe Jackson, I think that you get the post punk new wave Joe Jackson, you get the sophistopop Joe Jackson, you get the jazz Latin influenced Joe Jackson. You get, every album is just a different chapter in the book of Joe Jackson, right? It's a hell of a book, guys. I'm telling you right now. It's like, oh, please. I mean, it is. It's really good. So yeah, that was my thought, was that every album is just a different chapter of his musical life and what he wanted to show you, what he wanted to do. So, but yeah, I'm telling you, we're off to a good start with these two episodes. The technical glitches aside, I will fix that.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, no. So yeah, that's it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Unless Bill has anything else he wants to add.
I think I'm going to reluctantly skip over a couple of my favorite albums, one in particular, because I don't want to give you more of the same. I want to take this into some side streets a bit. So I
And
think I have the two that I'd like to assign you next.
and I appreciate that. Okay. Okay. Well, you might as well let the cat out of the bag.
All right. I no longer, I don't have any vinyl uh, past 1989. Blaze of Glory is the last vinyl copy I have at this point. I still would like to get some later vinyl copies, but I got everything else on CD. The first one is from '93. It's called Night Music.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay.
This was, let's see. Oh, no, this is from Virgin Records. He wasn't on Sony Classical yet. But it's a bit of a controversial album. I remember reading a review in Entertainment Weekly, I believe it was, when this came out, and they totally missed the point, and I've never forgiven them since. I still get irritated when I think about that review. How petty is that? 30 years later, I'm still pissed at that reviewer.
I would do it too. I'd be pissed off too. It's called Night Music.
Yes.
Night Music. Okay.
And the other one is on Sony Classical, but it's not really a classical album. It is a concept album about the seven deadly sins, and it's credited to Joe Jackson and friends. It's called Heaven and Hell.
Okay.
And it has some guests, some of which you will recognize.
Good to know. Good to know. All right. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a heck of a ride for this episode. um, so guys, in the comments down there, down below, tell us what you think of these two albums of Big World and Body and Soul. Do you like these albums? Have you heard of these albums? Do you not like these albums? Do you think they're underrated? Do you think they're overrated? Please let us know what you think, and put in the comments below. And just a little side note, this video going up, this episode is my 190th episode since starting the channel in 1902. No, in March. I want to thank you guys for supporting me and for being with me for the ride. It's been difficult, but it's been rewarding, and I sincerely want to thank Bill Schuster. I want to thank you, Bill, for helping me with this, because I really do appreciate it. It's been interesting. and hopefully we'll be doing more videos in the future. So obviously we will, but I really do want to thank you for this, for your support and your help and all this. So guys, coming up on the new music discovery for Joe Jackson, we have Night Music, and we have, what's the next one?
Heaven and Hell.
Night Music and Heaven and Hell.
Kind of a couple of ominous titles there.
There you go. There you go. It's only going to get more interesting from here. Bit of a diversion in terms of his musical output. So again, put your comments down below, click like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for any new content they've got coming up. Again, I'm going to advertise again. I'm going to be doing a show with Peter Kent on the from the Loser King channel. Please check out his channel. He's got really good content on our top 10 Rolling Stones albums. We are going to be doing eventually with Mr. Bill Schuster and Mr. Ryan Gavalier the ever elusive Pink Floyd album ranking, along with Peter Kent. And again, I've been given permission by Grant Arthur to advertise this. I will be appearing on Grant's Rock Warehouse on September 21st. We're going to be taping an episode on the Tea Party's fourth release, Triptych, from 1989 through EMI Canada. Please check out Grant's Rock Warehouse. Has fantastic content. So again, Mr. Bill Schuster, thank you for joining me and for helping me out with this. It was a great episode, and this will be put together in the editing room. Technical glitches, man. So, guys, please look after yourselves. It being the Labor Day weekend, if you observe the Labor Day weekend, please look after yourselves and one another. Be safe, okay? And I will see you soon, very soon, with another video. So bye for now. Have a great night.